Hi. So my toddler is finally down for a nap. Yesterday was rough because he didn't nap at all, like at all. And I tried so hard to get him to take a nap. And I tried multiple times to lay him down. And I don't know what was going on. He didn't take a nap. And he went to bed around 9:30 at night. So, and it wasn't like a fight or struggle to get him to go to bed. But when he doesn't take a nap during the day, he's just clingy and I can't do anything. I can't get anything done. And I had wanted to get some laundry done yesterday, get some clothes folded and put away. And I couldn't do any of it. So I decided today I was going to do it regardless of him taking a nap or not and just bring him with me downstairs to the basement to do the laundry. I used to put him in his carrier and it would be easy because I could quickly load and unload, but now he's too big. He's 27 pounds and trying to bend over and do all those things is a challenge. So I took him downstairs and he's easily distracted enough where not distracted, but where he can watch me do something and he's entertained by that. So I have to be quick though, because if he gets bored too quickly, he'll start wandering off and wanting to explore the basement. And it's not particularly safe. I want him to be right next to me while I'm loading the washer and dryer and just stay there. And I do tell him, stay right here, stay next to mommy. But you know how toddlers are, they don't really listen. They start going off, and something that should take 5 minutes to do can take a little longer. I have to keep stopping to grab him to bring him back. And yeah, so we're kind of in that stage now where getting things done is a challenge. And also, we are still very clingy. And anytime I want to do something or get anything done, and I can give him something to do to play. So let's say I want to wash dishes in the morning after he's had breakfast. I will get his little toys out, give him his little books, and I'll just sit him down nearby on the kitchen floor to play. And maybe 2 minutes in, and I start washing dishes, he is coming over to me, pulling on my pants leg, fussing, crying, and wanting me to pick him up. And I've been teaching him to say up if he wants to be picked up, or mama. And he knows how to say mama, he knows how to say up. So we are working on that. Sometimes he does just say up, but most times he's just fussing. And I'm trying to, just teach him, you can say up and mommy will pick you up. So not giving in to him when he's fussing and wanting to be picked up. But it's been a little bit of a challenge. But anyway, he's still super clingy. So I can't finish washing dishes, but it's we could be sitting on the floor playing together and then he'll start playing by himself and I could just be sitting there watching him play. And he'll just be ignoring me and not even caring that I'm just sitting there doing nothing. But as soon as I stand up to do anything, or even sitting there, I could be sitting there with him and I start folding clothes or whatever. I'll sometimes bring laundry into his playroom and try to fold clothes. And he's like, no. You have to either be watching me play, engaged in playing with me, or just sitting there doing nothing. You just can't do anything. That's how I feel his mood is. And he is so fussy. And I'm just AJ, your mother really has some things that I need to get done. And I don't want to wait till his daddy gets home because, we want to spend family time together and do things. And I don't want to be doing laundry and things in the evening. I want to relax. I want to chill because when his dad's home, he'll take him out and go for a little walk. They'll go and eat tomatoes in the garden. They do their own little thing. And then I'm trying to clean up the house. And I don't want to do that. I want to do it during the day and get it done by the afternoon so that when his dad comes home in the evening, it's my time. Because I need my time. And even on the weekends, we do things together as a family. And I just want to have family time. And I want my time to be in the evenings when his dad comes home after work. At least every other day. I deserve a little time to myself. And me being an introvert, I need that time to recharge. So a lot of times I just feel very drained. Emotionally, mostly emotionally, mentally, I'm very drained. It's very draining. Toddlerhood is very draining because there's just a lot of crying and fussing because he doesn't have the words to communicate, which I understand. And yeah. So anyway, he's taking a nap. Yesterday, like I said, he didn't take a nap. But the day before that, he took a 4-hour nap, and I was not expecting that. I didn't even realize it was 4 hours. I called my husband after I put him down for his nap at like 12:30, and we talked for a little while. And then I just laid in my mama-san chair and just relaxed. And then 2 hours into his nap, he woke up. And I went back in and noticed he was still tired. So I'm like, okay, he's still tired. And he suckled for a few minutes, went right back to sleep. And then I went back to the living room and sat back in my mama-san chair and I relaxed for another 2 hours. And didn't realize those 4 hours went by so fast. And I was like, oops, I could have got a lot of stuff done. But I wasn't, I don't know, I was tired. And I haven't had that many hours to myself. But anyway, so right now, he isn't taking his nap. I don't know how long he's going to nap for. I have laundry. I have done, oh gosh, how many loads? I have a load that I've already washed, dried, and folded. And then I have a load in the washer, a load in the dryer. And so I probably have like maybe 5 or 10 minutes left before I have to go down and change it. So I'm hoping I can get all that done while he's napping. And I'm also making ice cream. I've already made 6 different flavors of ice cream. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed because I used the recipes from my ice cream maker, trusting that those recipes were going to be good. And they were not. They did not use enough sugar. So all of my ice creams that I made, the 6 different flavors, actually all 6 flavors were very hard, like icy. And I don't know a lot about ice cream. I've made ice cream in the past, but I just follow the recipes, and I've never had an issue with the recipes that I've found on Pinterest as far as like them being creamy or not. But these ice creams that I made were not creamy at all. So yesterday I remade a batch of ice cream, and I made just like a vanilla, because my husband is super basic and he likes basic ice cream flavors like like vanilla and butter pecan. And actually, of the 6 flavors that I made, 2 were for him. One was a butter pecan, the other one was honey. Honey was alright. I'm not really a huge honey person. Like my husband loves honey. Like he is obsessed with honey and honeybees. Like he adores honeybees. And it's funny because he's allergic to them, but he absolutely loves them. And he wants his own apiary, I think that's what they're called, of bees. He wants that. So I think that's so funny. So I made him a honey ice cream, and I made a butter pecan. I made a strawberry cheesecake. I made a chocolate espresso. I made a pumpkin spice. Is that 6 flavors? I don't know. I might be missing one, but I don't remember what the 6th one was. The 6th flavor, apple pie. That was the 6th one. And the only one that was creamy was, I think, the honey one. The honey one is creamy because apparently if you use honey in an ice cream recipe, it won't freeze like ice. It will be creamy. I Googled, like, why is my ice cream hard like a rock? And that's kind of one of the suggestions. And then the other was that you need to use more sugar. So I didn't realize this. The recipes from my little 1-quart ice cream maker in the tips section that I didn't read stated that they don't use a lot of sugar in the actual recipes, and you have to adjust according to how sweet you want your ice cream to be. And I didn't realize that. I did taste each one, and I kind of was like, it's not really that sweet, but it still tasted good. So I'm like, I'll just leave it, because we are trying to get away from consuming a lot of sugar. So I kind of liked that they were lightly sweet and not heavily sweet, but I didn't know that it was going to affect whether or not the ice cream was creamy or not. So that was the problem. Anyway, I was kind of annoyed by that, but so I am going to go ahead and start up my other batch of ice cream that I'm remaking. Which all I did basically was take the frozen ice cream, let them soften, and pretty much melt down. And then I stuck them back in the fridge, let them chill, Oh, and then I mixed in more sugar. I added more sugar to the original ones. And now I am just making them in the ice cream maker. So that is what I'm doing. So this one is the pumpkin spice. I've already done 2 other flavors. I don't remember which one those were. But they are all in the freezer. I don't know if they're going to turn out like I want them to. I'm just hoping they will. And I'm looking for my measuring cup because I need that to pour the ice cream in. But I guess since I can't find my measuring cup, we are going to use a mason jar. Anyway, so this one, actually the pumpkin one, I tried making a pumpkin one that was made with like a sugar substitute. So I ended up actually having to add real sugar to this. And then I am going to just pour it into the mixer and hope that this turns out good. Also, what I did was with the apple pie one and this pumpkin spice one, I added actual like chunks of pumpkin pie and then apple pie. So super tasty. So here we go. I did notice when I remade the other batches of ice cream that they were much creamier in the ice cream maker than the first time that I made them. So that was a plus. Let me turn on my little timer so that I don't forget to check them. Actually, you know what? I don't think I need a timer. It's only going to take a half hour, so I will check in 30 minutes. Anyway. I really have nothing to do. I have done some cleaning. I've been giving myself grace, and I have decided that once a week I am allowed to have my whole house clean. That's it. And today might be that day. It might not be. Tomorrow might be that day. I don't know. So I've stopped letting myself be overwhelmed with the fact that laundry isn't done, or the kitchen is messy, the living room is messy, the dining room is messy, my child's playroom is messy. I have stopped just stressing about those things because honestly, I do the best that I can as a mom and as a housewife. And I feel that I am a bit of a perfectionist, and I feel stressed a lot of times when it's cluttered or there's just mess around me. And so that's something that I'm putting on myself, like an expectation that I've put on myself that my husband has not put on me, which is nice because he actually is very involved in doing things around the house, cleaning. Occasionally he might cook dinner, or we might just go out and have dinner if he notices like I didn't have time to make dinner. But I always try to make sure dinner is ready. Like, dinner is like one of the things that I want my husband to always be able to come home and know like he's gonna have something to eat, right? But even if that's not the case, he doesn't get upset about it, and I really appreciate him because I'm in a lot of the mom Facebook groups, and I noticed like a lot of women complaining about their husbands, complaining about them not getting things done, and being like, oh, what have you done all day? Because like apparently taking care of your child doesn't take a lot. And that's what people think nowadays, is that really it's not tasking. And it really is. Like, I thought the newborn stage was difficult and the baby stage was difficult, but like this toddler stage is challenging. I have to keep this little one entertained all day. He's on the camera next to me, so I'm just like peeking at him. I never talked about this on any of my, well, I don't really post that much on YouTube. I'm not really a YouTuber. I don't consider myself one. I just like to occasionally make videos so that I can look back and remember different moments in motherhood, because I don't really get to journal like I would like to every day. Like, I really wish I could just journal every single day. I wish I would have done it more, especially during the infant stage, but I didn't. But anyway, I didn't talk about this, and I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this with their toddler, but one night my husband and I, we woke up. Or not we woke up. Let me backtrack a little bit. I'm a little tired, so I gotta think clearly here for a second. So, one night we all were sleeping in bed, and we co-sleep. We co-sleep. We've been co-sleeping since he came home, like 2 weeks from after he came home from the hospital. And it originally wasn't something that I had wanted to do. You always hear things about like co-sleeping is unsafe, but there are actually rules that you can follow to do safe co-sleeping with your baby. And so we do follow those rules. And I needed to do the co-sleeping because when he came home from the hospital, he was very fussy at night. Like, he wouldn't sleep in his bassinet, and I didn't know why. And he kept waking, like, we'd lay him down and he would immediately scream and scream, and he would scream for hours. It was hours and hours of my husband and I going back and forth, like, trying to get him to stay asleep in his bed. And so at first what was happening is we would lay the bassinet next to the bed, and then eventually we would take turns switching sides, and one of us would have our hand on him. So that physical contact was important, but having your hand over the edge of the bassinet on him would make your arm go numb. So it was kind of tiring. And then he would wake up a lot to breastfeed. So he did a lot of cluster feeding. So I was up most of the night breastfeeding him and falling asleep, sitting up in a chair, in a pop-son chair. And it was exhausting. I was so exhausted. And then I finally read about co-sleeping and sleeping. I ended up Googling, how can I nurse my baby in bed and it be safe for me to go to sleep? Is that safe? And I find out that it's very safe. It's actually really safe for you to sleep in your bed and nurse your baby, because there's a connection that the mom and baby have, and mothers don't really go to sleep like in a deep sleep, and then actually your sleep and your baby's sleep is tied together. So I started doing it, and actually it was the best decision I ever made, because I was not tired, or I was not that I wasn't tired, but I was getting more sleep, getting more rest at night, and feeling better during the day, because I was exhausted, guys, and having to take care of a baby on no sleep. I feel like that's not safe. That's really not safe. And so I had to do what worked for me to get the rest that I needed so that I could take care of my baby during the day, because I did not have a village of people to come and help me. Like, nobody was coming to the house. My mom didn't live nearby where she could come and help me take care of our baby. Anyway, so we've been co-sleeping since he came home from the hospital after 2 weeks. So this particular night, how old is he now? He's 18 months. So I think he maybe was like 17 and a half months. So when I breastfeed him in the middle of the night, sometimes I will switch sides, and I will be in the middle and he'll be on the outer part of the bed. And we have bed guards to keep him from like rolling out of the bed. So it's okay if he sleeps on the outside of the bed when I'm breastfeeding him. So this particular night, but usually I keep him in the middle. I do keep him in the middle. My husband is a very light sleeper. He does not roll over on our child. And actually now, at the age that he is, the risk of anything happening is so low. So no worries about any of that. Anyway, generally, if I breastfeed him and he's on the outside of the bed, I move him to the middle. But I didn't. I let him stay on the outside of the bed. And I just all of a sudden woke up in the middle of the night, and I turned and looked at him, and immediately felt like something was off. Like, I knew something happened. Something was happening, and I looked at him, and I realized that he wasn't breathing, and he was laying on his back. And I put my hand on his stomach, and I waited, and his stomach didn't rise and fall, his chest didn't rise and fall, nothing. I put my hand over his mouth. I'm like, he's not breathing. But I also didn't feel like he wasn't like he was not, like, he was still alive. Like, I knew it, he was still alive, but he wasn't breathing. And so I sat up in bed and I'm like over him and I'm like thinking like, what the heck is going on? So my husband wakes up immediately because my husband like senses my mood. He will wake up. If something's wrong, I don't have to wake my husband up. He immediately wakes up. So he pops up and he looks at me. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, he's not breathing. And my husband picks him up and he's like limp. Like my child is literally not moving. And the thing with AJ is I sleep with my hand on him. And so if I move, he moves. He does in his sleep. He moves in his sleep. He rolls over. Like my hand will move. If I touch his hand will move. If I touch any part of his body, he moves. But he did not move. He was like lethargic, like limp. Limp. And my husband rolled him over. He rolled him over and he just like wasn't moving at all. And I'm not the type of person to panic, even in situations where you would think someone would panic. I tend to remain calm and to make sure that I'm assessing a situation fully before jumping to conclusions about what's actually going on. And I'm also like the type of person that doesn't want to think negatively right away. So my husband picks him up and I'm thinking, okay, maybe we should just call 911 and have them come immediately and do CPR immediately. But then all of a sudden, and it probably was a minute of us waiting, probably only a minute had passed. I don't even think it was like that long, but it felt like a long time had passed. He moves. And my husband says, I don't think he breathes. He's breathing still. Like he moved, but I still don't think he's breathing. And we I lifted him up and I took him from my husband and I made him kind of like wake up more and latch on and breastfeed. And he did. He latched on, he breastfed. And then when he was done, he sat up. I looked at him. He seemed fine. And then we kind of just waited. He woke up. He kind of like woke up a lot more. And then he was like more wide awake. And he seemed like his normal self when he wakes up. Like they didn't seem tired or, he didn't seem sick. And while all this was going on in the back of my head, I was thinking about sleep apnea. So I'm like, I don't know, can toddlers have sleep apnea? So I went on my MyChart app, scheduled an appointment with a pediatrician the next day to have them check him. So we went like the first thing in the morning. We went and they looked at the back of his tonsils and said that he has kind of large tonsils and that could be why. So either he will grow into them or he might need surgery. So they said that ENT, which is an ear, nose, throat doctor, would contact us to schedule an appointment to further assess. And I'm pretty sure it was sleep apnea. But he said we really didn't have anything else to worry about because if it happened again, he would wake up. So it could take up to 2 minutes, I guess, for someone with sleep apnea to fully wake up and start breathing, but their brain will signal for them to breathe. It just takes longer. So, which is still very alarming when you think about it to have a toddler doing that. So that was kind of like one of the most scariest moments, I would say, of our lives with AJ. And thanking God that it wasn't anything else but that, and that he woke up and came to, and it didn't turn out to be anything worse. But anyway, I am always on full alert when he's napping or sleeping. I am just constantly checking. And I know moms, we already do that as it is. But like, y'all, I know he will wake up, and it hasn't happened since, and that was probably a couple months ago. Like, I am like on high alert. So I feel like I haven't gotten much sleep since then. Like you can see, like I look tired, even more tired than I've ever been, because sometimes I'm just awake at night. He just woke up, so I have to go get him. Okay, so he's actually really funny. He looked up and then he laid back down and went right back to sleep. But anyway, I have not been getting any sleep, and here we are trying to have another baby, and I'm like I'm never gonna have any more sleep for the rest of my life, or at least until, I don't know, my kids are older, and I don't even know at what age Does it happen where you don't worry about your kids? You know, I'm pretty sure people with teenagers and adult children worry about them all the time, right? So yeah. Anyway, that was just a very stressful event, and I don't even know if I mentioned this, but he also months before that. Oh gosh, how many months was that? I don't even remember. Probably when he was like 15 months, he fell off the couch and he sprained his arm. So like right above his elbow on the inside, or fractured, not sprained. He fractured it. So he had to wear a cast for like a month, and everything's fine. They said it was healing perfectly, so he's good now. And then I want to say after that we had to get. Oh no, even then before that he had his what is it called? He had a surgery for his why can't I think of the word? I don't know why I can't think of the word. Tongue tie. He had a surgery for his tongue tie to be removed. And the exercises that we had to do were the most stressful exercises I've ever had to do in my life. We had to pull up his, because it was the top and bottom. So every day I had to hold him down and I had to pull up his lip and press that where your frenulum is, here and here. Hold that down, press down. And this is an open wound, okay? Here and here are two open wounds that I had to open up the wound, spread it out, and hold it for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then massage the area for like 5 seconds. And he would scream his head off every single time. And I had to do that 3 times a day for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And actually, I think it was 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks. And it was horrible. It was horrible. It was so horrible. I felt so bad, like, because he would scream, and I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, our neighbors upstairs are going to think that I am abusing my child. Like, they're literally going to think that I'm a horrible mother, because all they're going to hear is screaming. Like, nobody knows what's happening. Even one of my friends came by to drop something off, and she didn't even ring the doorbell or knock, or we don't have a doorbell. She didn't knock on the door. She left it, and then she texted me and she said, sounds like you're having a rough afternoon, so I didn't want to bother you. I just left everything on the porch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did you hear me doing my toddler? Because her children also had tongue ties too. I said she didn't know I did the tongue tie surgery, but I told her, and I'm like, can I do those stupid exercises? That was stressful, highly stressful for me. My husband would do them sometimes, but I was the one doing them most of the time because I am home with him during the day and afternoon. And my husband, oh my gosh, my husband is actually really horrible at doing the exercise. Like, he wasn't good at it. And you don't want you don't want this opening to close up, because then you have to get the surgery done again, and it is not a cheap surgery to do. It's not. And insurance is probably only going to cover like one time of the surgery being done, right? So that was another thing. And then after that, he had the fracture on his elbow. Guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it going to be like when we have 2 babies, 2 little ones? Children are a lot of work, guys. Children are a lot of work. They are. But praise God for them, because they are such a blessing and so much fun. And yeah, but anyway, I don't know. Just chit-chatting, just a little chit-chat. Okay, so it's me in the future. While editing the video, I just thought about this because I didn't share it. And while watching myself talk about the challenges of having a toddler, tell me why. My husband and I, a couple weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer, we were at Kohl's, and we meet this woman who was walking into Kohl's like right after we were, and I noticed that she's pushing a little stroller, and then 4 little boys come running up next to her, and all 4 of them looked super close in age. And I looked at her and I said, are those all your boys? Because maybe they were cousins. I don't know. She goes, yes. And I'm like, they are really close in age. And she's like, yeah, they're like a couple years apart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just a couple years apart. And I'm thinking, they still look even closer in age than that. Like, I don't know. And then she had the baby. And I told her how I was the only girl of 6 boys. And she's like, oh, and I told her how great it was. How I was I wasn't the youngest. I was the second oldest. But I enjoyed growing up with so many boys. And don't like feel like any type of, I always wanted a sister though when I was little. I'm not gonna lie, I prayed to God for a sister every time another pregnancy happened with my mom. But as an adult looking back, I'm like, it was actually great that I didn't have a sister, because so much drama with one of my friends who had a lot of sisters. They were always constantly fighting. I never had to deal with that. I never had to share my clothes. Like, I wasn't spoiled though. Anyway. So we were just chit-chatting with her, my husband and I, and then she makes a comment about the boys and tells us that the boys are actually a set of twins. So she had a set of twins, and then 2 years later she had another set of twins. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But 2 sets of twins back to back, girl. And then we're just chit-chatting, and all of a sudden she says, but I don't know what I said. I made a comment, and she goes, yeah, but you're forgetting, or you're missing out on the triplets. And I'm like, the triplets? Or the rest of the triplets. And I'm like, the triplets? And all of a sudden her husband comes walking in with another stroller with 2 babies and pushes up next to her. And she says, yeah, we have 2 boys and we have this girl, and they're triplets. My husband and I were like, what? So they had 2 sets of twins. 2 years later, another set of twins, and then another 2 years later, they had triplets. Like, these kids, I mean, this couple has 6 children under the age of 4. 6 children under the age of 4. And I'm like, oh, and they looked like they were doing great. The boys were well behaved. Like, they were just very well behaved. I just wanted to add that in there because I thought that was a very funny thing. And my husband and I, if we met earlier in life, like in our 20s, we would have probably had a huge family, because we both love the idea of having a lot of kids. And when we see big families, because we're both from big families, we just think it's just beautiful. And so we just told them, like, you guys are truly blessed to have so many kids. I love big families. And I hate that social media looks down on big families and treats them as if, like, having a big family is, like, not a good thing. And judging people for having a lot of kids and saying that it's financially irresponsible, emotionally irresponsible, like, all of it's irresponsible, because those children are not going to, I don't know, have the same benefits as other children that don't have a lot of siblings. And I'm like, that is not true. I know my parents struggled, but we didn't know they struggled. We didn't know. But we grew up great, like I said. We had a great childhood. And none of us feel any type of, like, negative feelings about having grown up with a lot of siblings. Like, what the heck is wrong with people? Literally, the world today is so messed up, you know? It's like God literally in the Bible tells us to be fruitful and to multiply. And if my husband and I could do that, and if that's God's plan for us, we will have as many kids as we can have until I'm too old to have children. And even then, I would like to be one of those, like, older women who's still having kids. Like I said, I'm planning on keeping myself healthy and trying to maintain my youth. And I don't mean in the way of, like, physical appearance, but I mean in the way of keeping my body youthful. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know there's even people judging people for not aging in the typical way that we see people aging in the past, where, like, I'm not gonna be old walking around with a cane. I'm just not. I don't care if my face wrinkles or my hair turns gray. Like, I don't have any problems with that, because that's natural. But I think that it's fantastic for people that are older, that are, like, weightlifting and getting into fitness. It's fantastic. I think it's a great thing. And I understand that not everybody has that luxury or opportunity or whatever, but I don't know. I wish the media would stay out of people's business, or people on social media. I wish that they would stay out of people's business and stop with the judging and making people feel bad for making certain choices for their life. It's really just wild to me. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because I thought it was kind of cute, that family with their 6 kids under 4. My husband and I were actually a little bit jealous, not gonna lie. We walked away, we were like, ah, how come we didn't have that many multiples? God gives people what they can handle, right? I told my husband, I'm like, probably because we couldn't handle it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. But I'm having fun. I'm having fun being a stay-at-home mom with a toddler. I am loving this age. I'm loving that he is talking and using words and learning words and repeating words, and it's fun. And he's got his little things that he likes to do, certain books that he likes to read that he brings me, certain games that we play together that he likes to play, and certain songs that he likes listening to, and it's just so much fun. We also don't do TV time. I did for a very short period when he was a baby, much younger, like when he was old enough to sit. And I found that it was really rough for me to get things done, especially when he was more aware, and he would just fuss if I wasn't like actively in the room with him. And so I really wanted to be able to eat and shower and do things. And so I would put him in this little bouncing chair, and I would turn on the dancing fruit videos, and so that's all he ever would really watch was dancing fruit or aquarium videos. But then as he got, once summer came, and that was early like spring, but once summer came, we didn't watch TV anymore. Like, we were outside. I was taking him to the park and taking him to play groups, and we were going to the library, just doing all kinds of things. And as he's gotten older, that's just been our thing all summer, is doing those things. I didn't really need to turn on the TV. And then probably around 15 months, I did start using the TV again and letting him watch shows that are kind of like Miss Rachel, but not Miss Rachel. He doesn't like Miss Rachel, so just educational type of shows like that. So I could cook breakfast or clean the kitchen or do laundry and do things. I would let him watch some shows, but one day I had the TV on for him, and I was in the kitchen, and I looked, and it was something about the way he was standing in front of the TV, and he was looking up at the screen, and his little mouth was open, and he was just frozen staring at the TV, and something just did not feel right. It didn't feel right, and so I went in the living room and I turned the TV off, and I was like, we're not doing TV anymore. We're not watching TV anymore. I'm not going to have a child that has to sit in front of the TV to be entertained. No. We're going to go back to just reading books, playing with toys, and I will have to have him engaged in whatever it is that I'm doing, whether it be cleaning the house, cooking dinner, laundry. I got one of those toddler towers where you can have your child stand at the counter with you. And so sometimes, depending on what it is that I'm doing, if I'm just prepping dinner, I will have him stand next to me. He's still kind of young, honestly. His attention span is too short, so it only lasts a few minutes before he gets bored, and then he's trying to climb out, like climb over the toddler tower to get down. Or if I take him out, he's trying to climb up inside of it, and it's just unsafe. So we don't really use the toddler tower that much anymore. I think next year when he's a little older, I'll bring it back out, but I will sit him on the floor. I'll give him pots and pans. I'll give him plastic containers. Like, I'm going to make some sensory boxes for him, and I've got to figure out like what I wanted to do, because a lot of the ones that I've seen, the sensory boxes are messy, and he will just throw that stuff all over the floor. And I'm trying to find things that are like easy cleanup and not messy. But anyway, it is actually very challenging to keep a toddler entertained. It is very, very challenging. Because generally when we're sitting down reading books and playing in his room with his toys, it's not very long before he's wanting to leave his room, and he's walking all over the house, pulling things out of cabinets and just getting into things. And I have safe cabinets that he can go in and play. Like, we have a cabinet just full of plastic Tupperware containers, and it's level for him to open and go in. And so a lot of times when we're in the kitchen and I'm like prepping dinner or doing things in the kitchen, that is where he goes to play. But he gets bored of that. And then he's like, okay, what else can I get into? He figured out how to open up the dishwasher. And I was like, ugh, do I let him play with the dishwasher? So I'm like, no, we're going to close it. And he fusses and he opens it again. And it's like back and forth. Me shutting it, him opening it, him crying, fussing. And I'm just like, okay, play with this. No, don't want to play with anything. Doesn't care. He's absolutely wants to what's it called? He absolutely has to play with the things that I don't want him to play with. So anyway, I'm like, okay, fine. You're not hurting yourself. But then he climbs into the dishwasher and he's squatting on the dishwasher. Pulling the drawer out and playing with it. And I'm like, okay, this is not a thing. No. So yeah. So that has been fun. Just trying to figure out other ways to keep him entertained because he gets bored so easily. But anyway, like I was saying earlier, I don't remember if I ever finished making my point about giving myself grace. So if I don't get things done, they don't get done. They just don't get done until I can find the time to get it done. Or my husband comes home and I will try to do some things in the evening. And even then, if I don't feel like it, I just don't do it because sometimes I'm tired and I need a break and I want a break and I feel like it's okay. But I give myself 1 day a week to have a fully clean house. And then all the other days, if it's messy. I mean, and a lot of times my house is semi-clean. Like, it's not horrible. It could be worse. It really could be worse. But I don't want to be stressed. I remember my mom, when we were kids, my mom was like, I think she was stressed a lot. There was 6 of us. Well, 5 of us at home because my oldest brother left to go join the military when I was like 11. And all of us were like 2 years apart. So she had all of us kids. And we were like making a mess, being loud. And my mom was a perfectionist. And I kind of have a perfectionist personality from her. And I'm trying to not be so much of a perfectionist because I feel like my mom probably... And I think she has told us that she missed out on just like enjoying like playing with us, you know? Because no, my mom didn't play with us. Like we played with each other. I had my brother who was 2 years younger than me. And so we played together as little kids. And then when my brother and I were younger, my mom was not married with the 2 of us. She lived with my grandmother, her mom, and my aunts who were twins. They lived with my grandmother. And so they were very involved in raising us and being there. So my mom had them, and I think, probably raised by my grandmother for the first couple of years. My mom worked a lot. She was working. And then she was actually pregnant between the 2 of us, but lost that baby. And then my mom got married when I was 4 years old to my stepdad, and he brought in our stepbrother who was 11 years older than me. No, 7 years older than me. And so we became a little blended family, and then my parents had 4 more kids after my brother who's 2 years younger than me. And yeah, so I think that having so many kids, my mom really didn't get to just like enjoy so many kids back to back, and she was like pregnant like probably every year or so. And I love my mom. My parents did amazing with all of us, and none of us, and I know people say this, oh, having too many kids, you can't spend one-on-one time with them, and like they're gonna grow up and feel neglected emotionally and blah blah blah, whatever. I don't know, people are making all these claims about you shouldn't have so many kids. Have all the babies, okay? I say have all of the babies because I had a great life with all of my siblings. We had fun. We grew up great, okay? We turned out fantastic. All of my brothers have families and kids of their own, except for the oldest. He was in the military. He was in the military for like 40 years. So, yeah. So honestly, have all the babies. If I could have a lot of kids, I would. But yeah, anyway. So I would like to be very involved in like playing with our children. Like I don't want to be the mom that doesn't have the time to play with my babies, my kids. I want to be fun, which is why me being an older mom, I have to prioritize my health and fitness because I will tell you one thing. I prioritize working out and I'm tired because I don't get enough sleep. But one thing, I can run around this house with my child and play with him and not feel super exhausted. I cannot relate to people who are my age who complain about bad knees, aches and pains, being exhausted. I am not an older mother who can't keep up with my child. I will run and chase him down too when he's running away from me. So I'm like, I plan on being that grandma so when he has kids of his own, I can play with them too. We are going to be a fit grandma. I don't know how old I'm going to be when he's having kids or my other kids are having kids, but I will be 100 years old and I will be a fit 100-year-old lady. Healthy, fit, and healthy. That is the goal. That is the goal because I will, God forbid, I let myself just not take care of myself. So anyway, this has been a chit-chatty long video and I want to go check on my ice cream and just relax and chill for a bit. So that's all. It's just me going on about motherhood and toddlerhood. But it's fun. And yeah, we're still trying for baby number 2. We are definitely trying, praying and trusting the Lord, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully my next video is a pregnancy announcement. That'll be fun. I'm not 8 DPO today, so no testing. We're not doing any testing. We're not testing until our period is late. But anyway, God bless, and I hope that you are enjoying your week. Bye.